Hello.
It says we're live.
We are live. Maybe. Hello. Sorry, we are late.
Hello there.
Boop, boop, boop. Do you want to introduce yourselves? Maybe, like who you are and what you're reading. I'll introduce myself at the end.
Sure. So I'm Kate. I have a YouTube channel over at Reading Through Infinity and a blog by the same name. And I am currently reading The Jasmine Throne, but I wasn't sure whether to carry on with this in the sprints or whether to start Monstrous Design, because my friend and I are going to buddy read this. And I messaged her earlier today. It was like, we could start it tonight. I'm doing some reading sprints, but she hasn't replied yet. So I'm like, I don't want to start it without her. I don't know if she might say let's start it tomorrow. So kind of undecided currently.
Interesting. What has Kat done written before? That name rings a bell, but I don't know why.
So this is the sequel to Dangerous Remedy. So that was her debut. So that's probably what you're thinking of.
Nice. What about you, Lei?
Well, hi, I'm Lei. I technically have a booktube channel. It's named Bookshelf Soliloquies, but I haven't made a video since last October because my life got very busy with university and stuff. So right now I am mostly a book blogger under the same name. You can find me over on bookshelfsoliloquies.com. And I am not sure what I'll be reading because I'm in the middle of 4 audiobooks right now, but I have a selection. Shall we do it now, or do you want to see it later after introductions?
Do it in a second. I will just add Lois. She has arrived.
Hi,
here she is.
Hi.
Hello. Do you want to go through your suggestions and your suggestions? Oh my god, my brain. Go through your what books you're choosing between, and then Lois, you can introduce yourself too.
Okay, I'll make it quick. So I've got my Kindle with me for an arc. I might be reading well, one of several. I don't know yet. Then I might be reading Hot Milk, which is the book that the book club I've started with some uni friends is reading currently, and I have not started it yet. So that's a choice. I might start A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is on my summer TBR, or I might just continue reading the physical version of Ace of Spades.
Nice.
So exciting.
Those are the choices.
I literally loved Ace of Spades so much. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Lois, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi. Yes, I've finally arrived. Sorry it took me a while. Hi everyone, I'm Lois. My channel name is Lochan Reads. I make, the general type of videos that most people make. So the TBR videos and the wrap-up videos. I mainly try to focus on recommending books by ethnic minorities, but I do most of the usual type of videos. And should I also talk about what I'm reading as well?
Yes, I forgot to say, but yes.
That's okay. So I have an ebook here. I've already started it. It's called Under the Udala Trees by, what's her name? Her name is Chinelo Operanta, Under the Udala Trees. Oh my goodness. It's set in Nigeria, and it's basically about a sapphic romance, which is apt because it's still Pride Month. And I think it's set against the backdrop of the Biafran War in Nigeria. Everyone's got really happy over the queer rep. But yeah, so that's the backdrop, and it's meant to be a sapphic romance. I'm only about maybe 10% in, so
nice.
It's still very fresh.
I've heard really good things about that. Lily from Lily and Nor Reads always recommends it, and every time I'm like, oh, I need to read it. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, it's so far so good. Yeah, so I have high hopes.
Thank you.
Ooh.
People have arrived.
Did you just get a food delivery?
Yeah. I'll just pop that to the side for a second. Yay, that's really exciting. I am reading. I'm Jazz. If it's my channel, it's always so weird. Travels in fiction. I'm reading Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi. I'm that far through.
I'm reading it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's very different to Pet.
very different.
Very different to Pet, which I loved. But yeah, that. And then if I finish it, I'm going to read How to Be Ace, which is a graphic memoir. Have you read it, Kate?
No, but I saw it in a shop over the weekend, and I was like, I kind of want to buy this, but I already had 3 books in my hand, so I was like, no, I think we should just save it and get these 3. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what you think of it, and Freshwater, because I read Pet back in like April, and I loved that so much. So now I'm like, I want to read all of their other books now, but I just haven't got around to any yet.
Yeah. I've also heard that The Death of Vivek Oji is very different but great also. It's like really interesting, very like wide writing talent, you know?
Yeah, and I think they have a new one coming out called Dia Senduran that's coming out like...
Yeah, is it like a memoir? Oh, sorry.
I don't know much more about it, but yeah, it's coming out soon. I don't think it's come out already. I don't think so.
No,
yeah,
I think
it's like soon, isn't it?
Yeah, the 29th maybe of June.
Nice. I'm gonna do some comments. How exciting. I've never been on the part where you can like click them, which is thrilling. Yay, hello.
Hi, Cardi.
Hi, Amy. Also, Lauren, what does book oops? I don't know. I'm already reading and I'm crying at my book oops. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hey, Laurie.
Very exciting. I'll try and read is that the Obelisk Gate? Is that who's the author? I can't remember.
The N.K. Jemisin series.
N.K. Jemisin. Is it the 5th season? Is that in that season?
Yeah.
Series, sorry. Yeah. Try not to throw it across the room. Excellent. Ooh. Excellent. Oh yeah. Honestly, when I just said about Vivek Oji, it was because Amy has just finished it. That was excellent. Book oop. Excellent. I have got about 100 pages of One Last Stop left, so shall be continuing that. Ooh, nice. I really am excited. Is that out yet in the UK?
Yeah.
Is it out?
Yeah.
Oh, I really need to get a copy. I'm very excited.
I loved it so much. Like, I think the criticisms people have raised are valid, but there's also like there's so much emotion in it, and I got towards the end and I was like, am I gonna cry at the ending of this book? And the answer was yes, in fact.
It was yes. Yeah, I'm really excited for that book. It's very exciting.
It's really good.
Hello. I'm making my way through the first Dead Endia. Ooh, graphic novel for book club. Yes, that's exciting. I've heard good things about Dead Endia from Lily, Literary Lily. And I have not read it, but need to. Are you enjoying it, Lauren? I hope that you are. Ooh, reread of Normal People. Exciting.
I haven't read it.
I'd like to reread that book as well. I read it years ago.
I didn't like it.
See, this is actually why I want to reread it, because I didn't get all the hype that everyone seems to be on now. And I like Sally Rooney anyway, so I'd like to reread her anyway.
Nice. Yeah, I'm intrigued if I kind of do want to read Conversations with Friends just to see if it was just normal people or if it just doesn't gel with me, you know? Like kind of intrigued.
Like Conversations with Friends. Personally, I preferred Conversations.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm like the only person who thinks that.
You are not too late. We have not started yet. Song of Achilles, nice. Exciting. Haven't read it, but have heard good things. Has anyone else read Song of Achilles?
No.
Yeah. It will rip your heart right out.
Well, prepare, Amy. Nice.
I just want you to know that how you'll feel at the end is like you simultaneously you've transcended to a higher plane, but you're also dead inside.
Oh my
Like,
god.
it's both levels.
That's intense.
Everyone always says basically that, varying degrees of like, you're gonna be absolutely destroyed, and it does make me want to read it because I want to know why.
You want to be emotionally destroyed.
I want in. Thank you. For anyone not
Yeah, I was
knowing,
looking at your jumper, Jazz, and it made me think of that game Twister.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You could absolutely play Twister on this jumper, couldn't you?
Like, no, I really like it. I agree.
Amazing.
It's Ben's jumper, if this comment didn't make that adamantly clear. Dead End, yeah, that was about that. Nice. I pre-ordered One Last Stop from Gates Word. I think there was some delay with the US publisher shipping it to the UK. I've already cried multiple times, but I'm an emotional reader. Nice. Yeah, I need to
See,
buy it.
I'm not really an emotional reader. Like, it takes a lot for me to cry at a book, but I did a little cry at that at the end. I did a small cry.
Ooh, a small cry. Do you cry at films, or are you?
Again,
Just
it sometimes
inside.
depends on the film. I feel like I cry more readily at TV and films because obviously it's a visual medium, so you're watching it play out. Than I do at books. But then, like, if a book is really good and really emotional, I will cry. Just not that often.
Yeah, I do feel that. I don't know when the last time I actually like cried literal tears at a book is. I don't know. I didn't cry at A Little Life, and that was very sad.
Oh.
I know. I was very upset, but I didn't cry. I cry at films all the time.
Same. I mean, I cry all the time, just in general. I think the last book that made me cry was The Other Side of Perfect by Mariko Turk. It's about a teenage girl who wants to be a ballerina and then breaks her leg and ends up having to go to a regular high school and joins the school musical. And it's about ballet and the racism in the ballet industry, but also about theatre and friendship and like art and passion. And I related to it a lot in many ways because I always wanted to be a ballerina. But yeah, it's really sweet. It has a really wholesome romance and like a great weird friend group. Like I love books with like friend groups in them. So that's a great book. And it made me cry a lot.
Oh, what was it called again?
The Other Side of Perfect.
Ah, okay, noted. That sounds amazing. I've never heard of that.
That sounds really good. I might look that up.
Like slightly adding it to Goodreads at the same time.
I think the only book that made me cry was A Thousand Splendid Suns by Calico Corsini.
That is a great book.
It is, but apart from that,
I was mad.
Yeah, apart from that, books don't make me cry.
Yeah, that is a great book.
Yeah, it really is.
Amy, I'm sorry. It's like one of her favorite books. Also, thank you. We will. Okay. Should we like start our first sprint? How long would we want to go for? Half an hour?
I don't mind. On my last sprint I did, what the blogger did, they did 45 minutes. Yeah, it was 45 minutes. If it's too long, that's fine. But we tried it and it was all right.
Okay. Does anyone have a preference? 30, 45? Does anyone care?
Don't mind either. What does the chat want to do?
Yeah, guys, let us know. And while you do that, I'm going to have...
What have you got? Is it garlic bread or pizza?
There's these little garlic bread slices and some jalapeno poppers, which are very spicy.
I just ate, but now I'm hungry again.
I'm sorry. There's actually more coming.
Do you have a full 3-course meal prepared?
What did you say, Lay?
Is it like a full 3-course meal?
Yeah, apparently. I'm quite excited.
Nice.
Preferably 30. Okay. Well, let's go. I haven't ate, so I'm going to say 30 so I can cook. I respect that, Lauren. I respect that. Seriously, so lovely. Oh. Thanks, Ben.
Oh, that's adorable.
All right, let's go 30. Let me share my screen and get the timer up Hopefully it goes smoothly. Do 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 do. Can you see that?
Oh, yes. Oh, that looks so
Yes,
professional.
Oh, amazing. I like put it on a separate tab. I was like ready. Okay, so we'll all like mute ourselves so you don't hear us, whatever. And okay, see you in 30 minutes.
Okay. Hello.
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 I was like struggling to turn the timer off. I was like, stop, and it was not stopping. How is everybody? How did everyone get on?
Good, good. I read about maybe 15 pages, which is not a lot, but it's something.
Yeah, I was about the same actually, like 15, 20-ish. I'm hoping the next one I sink further in.
Yeah. I need to read more the next sprint.
Yeah.
I decided to go with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I made it to page 47.
Oh, nice.
But it has like a lot of like interview transcripts and maps and like Facebook comment sections and stuff, which I really enjoy. I really like books that are like mixed media kind of things. So yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this. It was a good choice.
Yeah.
I've
It
heard
was
it's
a
really
5-star
good.
from me.
Oh, nice.
Yes. What about you, Kate?
I read 25 pages of this.
Nice.
I haven't picked it up in like a week, so it took me like a few pages to get back into it. But then I was like, oh yeah, I remember what's going on. So it's good.
Nice.
It's really good so far.
Oh. Is it fantasy? I assume it's fantasy. It looks fantasy vibes.
It is, yeah. I was actually buddy reading it with a group of friends, but then like 3 of them finished it, and I was like, I haven't finished it yet. I'm like miles behind. But Lauren, who was in the chat, was also behind with me. So we were like, okay, well, everyone else has finished it, so we'll finish it together. So
I love that.
she should pick it up as well while she's on the reading sprint. I know
Yeah,
she's
Lauren.
here.
What are you? Is Northern Plunder, Lauren? You
Yeah.
finished Bedendia. What are you reading next? Is it the Jasmine Throne?
This is a call to arms.
Amazing. Oh, I've just seen this as well. All my plans to read literally just thrown out the window. Have to drive to an appointment with my dad. I'll read in the next sprint. I assume they're not here, but I hope that you can. Lauren managed to finish the chapter just before the sprint ended. Good work. Love that. I just literally finished it like a random line. Do you guys read to chapters out of interest, or do you can you just stop anyone? I always find this fascinating.
I prefer not to. Oh no, go on. You go first.
I try to finish at a chapter, but if I'm like interrupted by someone or something, I will stop anywhere. But usually I finish a chapter because it irks me if I don't finish it, because usually like something happens at the end of a chapter to sort of lead you into the next, development, and I just don't like not finishing chapters, but I can if I have to.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
exactly what I was going to say.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Sometimes when I'm struggling to get into a book, I purposefully don't read to chapters, because if there's like an interesting scene and I'm like finally into it, I stop reading, and then I know that I will want to come back to that scene. Whereas sometimes if it's not like a cliffhangery book and it just ends the chapter and it completely changes direction, I know that I won't want to go back to it. I don't know if that's weird or not, but that is what I do. Weird vibes.
I think that makes sense.
It's like tricking myself.
I used to just finish anywhere. I would just put it down mid-page or mid-chapter, just chaotic like that. But recently I've started finishing, reading up to the end of a chapter and then being like, okay, now I'll put it down. So if I'm reading and I'm thinking oh, I need to put it down for a bit, I'll purposely look and be like, okay, well, there's only 4 more pages. I'll read to the end of the chapter and then I'll finish.
Nice.
So I don't know what's changed, but I just started doing that recently, literally in the last month or so. Before that, it was just chaos.
Chaos everywhere. But now you have order.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how many books do you read at once? Are you the kind of person that only reads one book and then reads the next, or you have multiple books going at the same time?
I tend to read one ebook, one physical book, and one audiobook at the same time, always. But sometimes it could be 3 of each. So sometimes I'll read
3 of each?
Yeah. Lauren also has this problem. Lauren and I are very similar readers in that we have periods where we'll just start another book and then start another book and then start another book and then eventually start to finish some of them. Yeah.
30 plus
Exactly,
books.
yeah. I feel like I'm better recently. There was a period last year when it was out of control and I was reading like 10 books. But now I try to be like, I'm reading 3 books at the minute. And then I have a book, Kate in Waiting, that I started and I sort of put on hold. So I need to finish that at some point. So that's kind of on the back burner. But yeah, I'll normally read like 3 at the same time.
Interesting. I'm kind of similar, but not with the ebook. Like an audio and a physical for sure. So I usually have 2, but usually they can't be like the same genre. Like I wouldn't listen to a YA contemporary and read a YA contemporary. I kind of need something different to split them up, whatever it is. They can both be fiction, but like, yeah. What about you, Lane?
It depends. I kind of read in phases anyway. Like my life just works in phases of obsessions and habits, apparently. But because over the last year, I started to almost do all of my reading through audiobooks, and then I have, you know, multiple of them going at the same time. So basically, I always have like upwards of 3 books going, and I try to make them different genres and different formats, so like ebooks and audiobooks and a physical book, or like differentiated between fiction and non-fiction, which for me means most likely one of my death books. But it doesn't always work. I mean, I literally have like, it's this section on my shelf, this entire section there is all books about like death and forensic science. Like that's kind of my thing. Most of them are unread as of yet, but I'm working on it.
Working your way through.
Yes, and I'm very proud of the collection. It's steadily growing.
I love that. What about you, Lois?
I try to read no more than 2 at a time. I have been known to read more. Like I've been known to read maybe 3 or 4, but I do have to, like you were saying, switch up. So I'll listen to a couple of audiobooks. I'll have a physical book, an ebook, a manga, a graphic novel. Just as long as they're all completely different. Otherwise, I'll get confused because at the moment I'm doing something I don't normally do. I'm listening to an audiobook and reading an ebook, but they're both very similar.
Ooh.
So it's a bit confusing. I'm constantly trying to separate the 2. But,
yeah,
because they're so similar in terms of the genre and the setting and things like that, it can be a bit confusing.
Wait, but you're not reading and listening at the same time?
No.
Because I know people who do.
Oh yeah, no, I know people who do that as well. It's quite interesting. Those people apparently, when they listen to the book and read it as well, it means that they can listen to the book at these extremely fast speeds. I don't get that personally. It confuses me, but apparently people do it.
I mean, I kind of do that. I talk very fast and I think very fast, and so I usually listen to audiobooks at least on double speed and sometimes higher depending on the book. But I know people who can listen to an audiobook and then read an entirely different book at the same time, and I don't know how, because my brain could not. I just like, that's a superpower.
Are they actually reading it though?
How does
I don't know.
I've seen a few people say on Twitter that they can do that and that they'll sometimes be reading separate books. And I'm like, that's like a god tier superpower.
I don't understand.
I tend to find if I'm reading and if there's like the radio or background noise on and it has talking, then I start to listen instead of focusing on what I'm reading. So if it's like music without lyrics or kind of ambient noise, then it's okay. But if there's speech, then I focus more on that, and I'm like, no, I'm listening, I'm not reading. So I think I would struggle to listen to something separate and read something different at the same time. Like that's wild.
Yeah, I can't even have like the TV on and someone talk to me. I have to pause the TV and I'm like, what did you say? And then I like come back to the TV. Like, I cannot do that.
Anyone who does that, please tell us how.
I think Maury does.
Yeah. So firstly, 3 speed, I'm very impressed with.
I can only do that with some books, especially ones that I've read. Like, I don't know, if you know me well, you know that I listen to The Martian a lot. That's one of my go-to audiobooks. And I can listen to that at like 3.5 speed because I'm so familiar with it. But everything else, 3 times speed is like a tiny bit too much.
Just
Wow.
Oh.
I've only just progressed from 1, and I'm on a like 1.2, maybe something like that.
Oh,
Narrators talk slow though.
An audiobook baby.
a sweet
too slow
innocent
for me
child.
now. Once you get to 1.75 and you get used to that, when you listen to it on 1 time speed, then it sounds so.
It sounds like they're like
Slow.
quivering.
Oh,
Weird.
have you seen Zootopia? There's the scene with the
Yeah, I
sloth.
love Zootopia.
Like-
yeah, oh my god.
Like a lot of audiobook narrators talk so slowly that it like kind of makes me a bit aggressive because it's so slow.
I have a theory about this. I actually think that when they record, I think 1.2 speed is like the standard like speed of people's speech. I think that's probably average for most narrators. And I think they might actually slow it down for 1.0 and like 0.8. I don't know if that's right, but when you listen to 0.8, it doesn't sound natural. Like I feel like if I were narrating an audiobook, I would struggle to talk that slowly.
Yeah.
So I feel like it must be slowed down a little bit. But my average speed is either 1.8, 2.0, or if depending on what app, like 2.2. I think 2.5 is max, and it's only if it's like a slow narrator. I've tried 3, and it was just like the speed of sound. I couldn't I could not process.
The speed of sound.
It was like whoop, and I just couldn't. For more than like a minute or 2, I couldn't get what was going on.
Yeah. Interesting question, but I'm actually so impressed that everyone's is like over at least 1.5, if not more. I like cannot compute this, but I'm very impressed with everyone. That's so exciting. You can read faster. Anyway, do you immediately start reading from that speed, or do you like read slower to get into the book and then you can like turn it faster, or does it just depend? I'm intrigued.
I don't. I just normally just kick things off of 1.75.
Yeah, I start at like
now.
I start at 1.8 or 2. Like I'll start the book and I'll listen to how I'll start it on like 1.8 and see how the narrator is reading. And then if they're reading really slow, I might go a little bit faster and turn it up. But if they're reading really fast, I might turn it down a bit. Like at the minute, I'm listening to 1500 Miles from the Sun on audio, and the narrator for that is quite fast. So I'm listening to it on 1.75. I tried going up to 2, and I was like, a little bit too fast.
Move it down a little bit.
A little bit too much.
Yeah, same for me.
Nice. I do basically the same, but just crank down. I start on 1, and then I go up to 1.2 if I'm feeling adventurous that day. It's fun. It's really interesting. I guess it's just like processing how fast and getting used to it.
It also depends on like.
Sorry, go on.
I've also realized that it depends on like audio quality, because the library app that I use, the audio quality is like slightly worse than other audiobook apps, and it means I can't go as high because it's like I guess there's just like data missing.
Yeah.
No, I've noticed that as well. I use this one. I use 2 apps. I use Libby and I use BorrowBox.
Yeah, I also have BorrowBox.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The quality is not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried listening to books on faster speeds on BorrowBox, and it just sounds really bad.
Yeah.
This is fascinating. So like even if it's like the same book on like BorrowBox or on like Scribd or whatever would sound different.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I listen on BorrowBox. Maybe it's BorrowBox.
Yeah.
It might be BorrowBox, I think, because I don't have this problem with Libby. Libby is fine.
That's really interesting.
Have you ever listened to an audiobook from NetGalley?
Yes.
I haven't.
No.
So I listened to one recently, and it was Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry. And I didn't realize until after I'd been accepted for it and downloaded it that it said like a little note like, this isn't read by an actual narrator, it's like computer generated.
Oh.
So I started listening to it, and you know when you watch like some kind of spoof or comedy video on YouTube and they use that automated narrator voice, it's like, hello, I am here today to talk to you about this. And it was like that. And so I set it up. And after a while I got used to it. It was okay, but there were certain things that it would say and it just didn't sound, it sounded like a robot. So I feel like that kind of detracted from my reading experience with that book, because there would be a serious moment, but the robot voice would say it in a really weird tone, so I had to try not to laugh at what was being said.
Oh no.
That's so
I feel
interesting.
like... Sorry, go on.
That's so weird that there wasn't, like, I know they're like advanced listener copies, but if it's an advanced listener copy, it was also not reviewing the narrator, but you don't expect just a robot.
I thought it would be a
That's weird.
narrator, so I don't think I'm going to get any more like advanced audiobooks unless they're narrated by a real person.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've only well, technically I've only listened to one audiobook through NetGalley. Was a children's book, and I did not enjoy it, which was very sad because I was very excited about it, but yeah, not great. And then I was approved for a book that came out in January, but you know, sometimes they like stay on NetGalley even after publication.
Yeah.
And it's called How to Solve a Murder, and it's a non-fiction book. But either it just didn't download into my NetGalley app, or it vanished because the book was recently archived. So now I can't listen to it on NetGalley anymore, but it's on Scribd. So now I'm listening to it on Scribd,
Nice.
so I can review it, because I don't want to have to click, I can't review this book, because apparently that like messes with your feedback ratio. But yeah, but I've never had like an artificial voice. I mean, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. I just thought that comment was relevant to what you were saying. I'd forgotten to highlight it. That's weird. Wait, how do I get rid of it? Sorry. Okay. This is interesting. Lauren said, I'm hard of hearing and find BorrowBox to be a bit quieter than Libby, but like the formatting of BorrowBox better than Libby. Interesting.
Yeah. That's the thing with these different apps, is they do certain things well and they do other things poorly. That's why I like to have more than one app. And I used to use another one as well called Cloud Library, but I don't know, something's happened with them. I don't know what's happened, but Cloud Library, something happened. All the books disappeared. I know that sounds weird, but yeah.
Oh,
It's no longer a library.
That's weird, because I use that, because I have where I live, there's two different library kind of, like, I want to say syndicates, but that's not the right word. Like, there's one group of libraries and there's another group of libraries. And so I'm on both of them because I am greedy like that. And so I have Libby for one, and then I have Cloud Library for the other. And it's okay. Like, it's fine. So from what I've found so far. Sorry, I think.
What was that? Was that a cat?
That was my dad. I'm guessing on the football.
Get quiet.
Oh. Oh my god, that actually took me by surprise.
Me too. I was like, hello. I thought we were playing tomorrow, but apparently someone's playing.
Must be it. That must be it.
The Euros.
Amazing.
Wait, are we playing tonight?
Yeah, against
Czech
Republic.
Oh, okay. Oh well, we're winning. Maybe, I don't know.
Amazing.
Oh dear.
But Cloud Library, yeah, it was really good. I really love the app, but then I don't know, maybe something's wrong with my app and I need to update it, or I don't know. But I went to log in. Yeah.
Have you tried contacting your library? Because I had a problem where I could only download one audiobook at a time, and you're meant to be able to check out 4 books at a time, and it would literally let me check out one. So I sent them an email, and I can't remember what they said to do. I don't know if they said to uninstall the app or to clear my cache or something, but I did it and it solved the problem. So
yeah, it must be something like that.
Emailing, maybe?
It must be that. I will speak to them.
That's weird.
But other than that, it's a good app.
It is a good app, yeah.
I mean, I also really like borrow books because it means I get to have access to an English library. It's
Oh
my
yeah.
account isn't. I'm not quite sure how like legal my account is. It's actually a very funny story. So, in case
An
you couldn't
illegal
tell,
library account.
well, it's
Yes.
maybe like semi-legal. So, in case you couldn't tell from my accent, I'm German. And my library, my local library, has like a very tiny English section of physical books and like absolutely no English audiobooks at all. But I'm a member of the Gumption Club, which is Lena Norm's like Patreon club, and it's the only reason I'm still on Facebook because it's a fantastic group. And sometime last December, I think, a wonderful librarian from Wales made a post and was like, "Hi, if anybody wants me to create them an account at my local library, I can do that for you." And I was like, sure.
Yes.
So of course
so
I don't
nice.
actually live there, and it's not my local library, but I do have an account. I don't know if it's going to like renew every year automatically. I don't know, but it means I have an account. And the first time I downloaded the app and like scrolled through all the books, I literally started crying because I was like, oh my god, so many English books, all of these books I want to read and I don't have to pay. So, that's the reason why I love
so
borrow
nice.
books.
Oh, that is so nice.
Just librarians, man.
I love
The
that you
best
just
people.
have an account for like a random Welsh like library. Like you're getting like Welsh targeted, whatever they have like spotlighted that month. Like you're getting it.
They do
That's
actually
so
have
great.
Welsh audiobooks, which I have not yet listened to because obviously I wouldn't understand. But yeah,
That's
it's just so
great.
nice.
Oh, I love the
That's
Gumption
nice.
Club. As a side note, I didn't know you were
Yeah.
in too. I love it. So good. Okay, should we read again?
Yes.
Reading.
I need to know how this continues.
Okay, let's do another half an hour then. So that'll be, oh my god, 8:45 exactly. Perfect.
Nice.
Okay. See you there. Wait, I'm gonna do it again. Sharing the screen. I'm not solid at this yet. Sorry.
Don't worry, at least it wasn't as bad as the first time I tried to share my screen.
Didn't you say didn't it like kick you out or something?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay. Right. Okay. See you in 30 minutes. Hello. Wait, let me turn the alarm on.
Oh.
Hello. I'm going to use a coaster as a bookmark. Whoops. How did everybody get on?
All right, all right.
Yeah. How are you enjoying your book, Lois?
I'm enjoying it. It's going well. It's very sad. It's very emotional. It's reading about this young girl, and she's experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of grief, and now her mum's about to abandon her. So it's quite sad. Actually, it's a sad book.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah,
Interesting but deep.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's set against the backdrop of the Biafran War, which I've heard of, but I don't know much about. So I'm learning a bit about that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I've heard of that because I think War Girls is like loosely based on that. Because I read that a couple of years ago, and I'm sure that one of the place setting names was Biafra or Biafra. So I feel like it might be connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
Huh.
So
Nice.
yeah, I have to do some research.
Nice. What about you, Kate?
I read 20 pages of this. Something so dramatic happened. I was like, oh my god, but it happened at the very start of the sprint. So I was like, I'm really pleased that I've read this now and not at the end of the sprint. So I've
Yeah.
the next 50 minutes being like, what is going to happen next?
It's like I need to keep reading.
Yeah. But no, it's really good. It's really, really good. It's quite slow paced, but this thing that just happened, it's really kind of kickstarted things a bit more. So I'm very keen to see what's going to happen next. And there's a lot of different perspectives throughout the book. So it's quite this particular perspective that I'm enjoying, and I got back around to them. So it's good. It's really good.
Oh, nice. That's exciting. What about you, Leigh?
I made it to page 96, which
Oof.
very proud of myself, almost 100
Yeah.
pages in. It's quite a fast read, to be honest, and I'm really enjoying it because we are getting to the inconsistencies and how different people recount the events of the case that this is about. And I'm trying to like keep up with all the evidence and like different people and what they've said, but I'm not quite smart enough to keep all of that in my brain. I'm kind of like tempted to take notes and to try and figure out what happened and who did it alongside
God,
the main character.
I love that. Do it. That's so fun.
Yeah, I might have to do it because I really I like teenage detectives and I would have loved to be one. So maybe taking notes and trying to guess what happened is going to make me feel smart and like a teenage detective myself.
I'm really bad at those books. Any books where there's like where it's like a whodunit or there's like a murder mystery situation going on. I'm very bad at guessing who was the killer, and when the big reveal happens, I'm always like, wow, I did not see that coming. But then
that's so nice.
other people will be like, oh gosh, so typical, it was that person.
I completely feel that. I always like fall for all of like the red herrings that everyone puts in. I'm like, it's them. No, it's them. And like everyone, I like never know what's coming, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
I just started reading How to Be Ace because I mean I am enjoying Freshwater, but I needed something different and I wanted it like easy. I was getting a bit of a headache, so I was like, I feel like pictures was better for that. It's really good so far. See this part, but it's very good. It's very
Is
interesting.
it illustrated? Or...
Yeah, it's a graphic memoir. Wait, let me remove my coaster. So it's like, yeah, very easily.
I like that.
Oh, I need to get that.
It's really lovely so far. There's like, so it's all obviously about being ace. And it's kind of like part, well, it's a memoir, but then it's also like kind of part, like little information sections. Like there was a little bit like being ace and like the different flags and stuff and like being an umbrella term and stuff, which was really interesting. Like, yeah, it's nice. So, yay,
That sounds
excited
really
to
good.
keep reading.
That's
Yeah,
good.
it is. How are people doing? I read a good 3 pages before making a theory, and then I panicked. I love that. I'm on page 103 of Song of Achilles. I'm already concerned for my heart. If they leave it here, it will be a happy story. Well, I'm gonna go with they don't leave it there, Amy. I love that. Anne, kind of missed the stream, but I just wanted to pop in and say hi. Hi, Anne. Also, we're gonna go again if you're still around. So, yep. Would love to hear your theories on A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I read it last year or the year before, but I have fun trying to figure out who done it. Yeah, I fell for every single red herring in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I'm very intrigued about how you're doing, Lay.
I'm so curious to see what's going to happen, because I have vibes, like people I trust or don't trust, or but nothing concrete yet. But Maury, I will let you know if I have a theory. Gonna have to make a murder board and pin all the evidence.
You should make your murder board under your death bookshelf.
Oh my god, now I really want to, whenever I do make my return to BookTube, I really want to do a reading vlog series where I read YA mysteries and try and figure out what happened alongside them.
That's a really good idea.
That's a great idea.
It's actually because I have quite a few of those kind of books on my TBR. Huh. Well, I guess I just have to start making videos again. Yeah.
Well, would you look at that? Yay. I'm really enjoying it. There was one tiny part that I didn't quite, right at the beginning. There was a little casual fetishization of male romance, which I didn't know if it was going to be readdressed. It was just a random comment from a teen that was oh, I love this comic. It's a male romance. It's so hot, and when it's too, and I was like,
typical.
What? But I don't know if it was just a kind of comment about teenagers kind of doing that, and it's gonna. It wasn't a focus anyway. I just was like, what was that about? It was a bit, but the rest of it is really great. I would still recommend it. It's just a bit of a random comment, yeah. Lauren is on page 341 out of 417. I love trying to make theories and see if they come true. I'm really enjoying the mystery missing person element of One Last Stop. Missing person.
There's a mystery element? I need to back this up my TBR.
There's a massive mystery element because this isn't a spoiler because it's in the blurb, but oh no, I'm worried that if I say it, it is a spoiler, but it's not because I'm sure it's part of the blurb. But
it's okay, go.
One of the main characters is sort of is trapped on a subway, and the other main character has to figure out how and why, and how to get them out. And there's also a sort of potential time travel element as well.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
I knew that part. I didn't know. Okay, well, that's really interesting.
I mean, sapphic romance, time shenanigans, and a mystery aspect. Yeah, I need to read that.
You need to get there.
I have the audiobook. I have it. I own it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I started reading it on audio, but I don't know. I wasn't vibing with the narrators that much, so I switched to physical, and I much preferred the physical for some reason. I think it was just some of the voices weren't how I imagined them, and it was just kind of taking me out of the book a bit. So I feel like I would recommend the paperback or the physical book more than the audiobook. But I also didn't read loads of the audiobook, so it might be good or it might get better.
I actually got the audiobook specifically because of one of the narrators, Natalie Mortis, I think, which is very funny because I randomly followed her on TikTok because she makes videos about, being an audiobook narrator. And she also has a YouTube channel with her husband because they live on a really isolated mountain and built their own house and stuff. It's really cool.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
But I have I know her voice because sometimes she records books live on TikTok. But yeah, that's so interesting. But I guess it's just, a preference of how you like narrators to be. So there's 2 narrators? Or is it just one person?
think there's only one. But if you already if you specifically picked it up for the narrator, then I feel like you'll probably enjoy it more than me, because if you have already listened to their stuff and you know how they narrate, then it'll probably be fine. But for me, I was just finding that some of their character voices weren't how I expected, and I think it's because I started it in the paperback, and obviously you kind of project your own imagined versions of their voices into the book, and then I switched over to audio for a bit and carried on in the audio, and then I was like, no, I'm not vibing with this, so I went back to the paperback.
Oh, it's kind of like with movie adaptations, when you imagine characters to look and be different.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel this. I'm listening to Warcross by Marie Lu at the moment. I'm loving it. Except there's one specific part of the narration which I am truly not loving. And it's there's I don't think this is a spoiler. If it's not a spoiler, there's a romance element. It's a YA, it was expected. But there's a romance element, and the way they're teenagers, but the way that she is narrating this guy genuinely makes him sound, to me, 60 years old. So I'm finding it really hard, because I'm trying to be no, he's not 60, he's a teenager. And as I listen to his voice, I'm but you sound 60 and it's weird. And I'm really struggling, because I'm loving the book, and that does a very specific part. It's ruining the romance for me.
Is it the narrator, or is it the way he's described?
It's the narrator. It's the way the narrator puts on this guy's voice.
Oh, okay.
But the book's great.
I also listened to the audiobook, and he wasn't quite 60 in my mind, but he definitely sounded like a grown man and not a teenager.
Not a teenager.
Which made me kind of uncomfortable with the romance. I mean, the power dynamics are weird anyway.
The power dynamics are weird. But I'm so glad that you said that, because I haven't spoken to anyone that's read it yet or listened to it. So
I also listened to it.
Yeah.
But he does have also kind of old man vibes, to be honest.
To be fair, that is also true. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a teenager. They keep reminding us that he is a teenager, and I'm oh yeah, he's a teenager. Anyway, sorry to anyone that hasn't read Warcross. This must be a really weird conversation.
No, it's interesting.
But yeah.
That is interesting though, because do you not sometimes read books where the characters feel older, but they seem to have been aged down to be marketed as a YA book, or to kind of fit into the YA bracket? Because I feel like there's quite a few books where the characters read a lot older, and their life experiences and maturity on page make them come across as they could easily be in their 20s, but they're 17, because obviously the authors wanted to keep the story within a sort of YA format.
Yeah, I completely feel that.
Yeah.
And really, it kind of gets to the point where maybe they should transition into writing new adult.
Yeah, we need stop new writing as more of a category. It needs to be more of a thing, and not as just a romance specific category. It just needs to exist as here are some books with some protagonists that are in their 20s.
Yeah. Woohoo!
I get that with Six of Crows. Even I love those books. I'm a huge fan, but especially Kaz Brecker, he sounds like a 40-year-old man.
Also to imagine that he was 12 or 13 when basically his crime career started, and the things that boy has done, wow. You are a child. But but I feel age categorizations are difficult anyway, because in my mind, young adult should include people into their mid-20s, because I'm 22, about to be 23, and I'm a young adult by definition. But YA as a genre sort of stops at 20-ish maybe, and then there's this space where there's definitely books with main characters in their 20s, but I feel it's marketed less, or in a way that those books never reach me, which is kind of sad.
I fully feel that. And if a new adult book does become well known, it's it's new adult. It's not just oh yeah, it's new adult. It's because it's so far and few between. It's wow, and it's a new adult book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I immediately thought about one of my favorite books, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green,
Yeah.
because all of the characters are like in their early 20s, but I don't remember the book being marketed to like any age group, and like the cover is like, because sometimes you can like tell what kind of age range a book is based on the cover and how it's marketed, but with that duology, like I don't think the publisher was like, oh, this is an adult book, this is a new adult book, and that's kind of cool because I feel like it's a book for like a very wide range of people, because I think teenagers can definitely read it because it's not like explicitly adult in any kind of way. But yeah, I want more of those books.
I completely feel I love that
I need
book.
to read that book.
It's so good.
It's so good. Like the second book, it just
I liked the second book less, but I still liked it.
Why did you?
Yeah.
Why?
I thought the first one was like 5 stars. I read it, I reread it, 5 stars. Then the second one, I don't know. I won't say. I don't want to spoil it, but it just wasn't quite. It was more like a 3.75. But I loved it. I still loved it. But like it didn't hit the same for me as the first one did. But
I mean, it is very different.
they're both great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should definitely read them. They're some of my favorite books, and they're like the kind of books that I think about on a regular basis.
Yeah. I feel that.
Ooh.
I think this is this about One Lost Stop?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, who's
And it's
August?
also another mystery element.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Nice. Thank you. Also, Amy said she had the age issue with A Man Called Ove. I feel that if I also read A Man Called Ove and felt that exactly. So yeah, interesting. Should we go again?
Yes.
I don't know how many more to do. What time is it? 9 o'clock. Let's do at least one, and then we can
Let's
like
play
see
it
how
by
we're
ear.
feeling. Okay. I'm conscious that I am an early. Well, I didn't used to be an early bird, and now I seem to like go to bed at 10. I don't know who I am, but anyway, let's read, and then we'll check in after.
Okay.
Let me share the thing. Okay. Bye.
All right. See you in a bit.
We're going.
Oh, sorry.
Hello.
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 How are we doing?
Going well, going well. I
Yeah.
like that my book has short chapters. That always comes in handy.
Mm,
Love
nice.
that.
Yeah, I love that too. I like so almost finished How to Be Ace.
Oh.
Like, I'm just right there. It's so lovely. It's really lovely.
Mm.
It's also nice because it's a memoir. I kind of forget they're just kind of talking about their life in graphic novel form. That it's not just about being Ace, obviously, it's just about her whole life. So, but like, it's really lovely. I would recommend. Yay. How did you guys get on? How did everyone else get on? The 4 people that are here. Woohoo.
I've made it to chapter 15, which is page 149. So
Ooh.
I'm like steady on pace with like 50 pages every sprint, which is doing quite good.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, and there's new information, more insecurities, and I really don't have a working theory. Like I just have vibes of people I don't trust, but there's constantly new information, and I'm really not sure. And the fun thing, I have not been spoiled at all for this book, even though it's it's been a few years and like everyone and their mum has read it, but I know nothing, so that's very nice.
I love that, especially in a mystery thriller vibe. That's great. I love just knowing absolutely nothing.
Mm.
Mm.
Agreed.
Nice. What about you, Kate?
I read another, I think, like 20 pages. So I'm up to 245 now. So I am like almost exactly halfway. So yeah, it's really good. I'm glad that I picked it back up again because I sometimes find that if I put a book down for a little while, I'm at risk of like I don't DNF books, but I'll put it on hold, and sometimes a book can be on hold for like a few months. So I'm glad that I
Me.
actually got back into it. So
Yeah, nice. I'm very proud of you. I do that.
I'm DNFing a lot more now. I never used to do it, but now I don't know. I've stopped. It's not that I've stopped caring, but I've just kind of stopped subjecting myself to things that I'm not enjoying. Like if I've gotten to 100 pages and I'm still not enjoying it, then I'm more inclined now to be like, okay, I'm going to put this down instead of forcing myself to read it.
I love that. Here
I
for the
wish I
DNFing.
could do that. I wish I could. I can never bring myself.
Are you not a
to that.
DNFer?
No.
Didn't know.
I used to be like that, you see. I used to be exactly like Kate. It's very liberating once you start DNFing books.
Yeah.
I just always think like, what if it gets good in the last half, or like, what happens if something happens that really changes it?
I do feel this also. I mean, I do DNF books all the time, although I kind of do what you do and say they're on hold, but then I never come back to them. That is a DNF. But like then, what you just said, like, so Amy, who's in the chat, made me read A Little Life, and I was like, the first 300 pages, I was like, this is so boring. That's like a whole book, and I like, it was so slow, and I was like hating it. And then the rest of it, fucking great. So it's like I would have DNF'd, and I was like, had Amy to be like, no, keep going, and I was like, okay. Yeah, but that's not all books. But yeah, I don't. The first half of A Little Life isn't bad. I would like to clarify. It's just very build-uppy. If anyone is planning on reading A Little Life, it is good, but just harder to read. I thought. Yeah. But yeah. Oh,
nice. I like the fact that your book, Jazz, is a graphic novel memoir, because I haven't read too many of those. I've only read one. And I do like that. I read They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. It's about, and actually I didn't even know, I'm so ignorant, I didn't even know about this until I read that graphic novel. It's basically about these Japanese Americans who were forced to go to internment camps during the Second World War. And I never knew about that before reading that graphic novel. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've never I think this is my first graphic memoir. So I want to read more now.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
Huh.
Bye,
There's a
boring.
couple of good ones.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
What did you say, Kate?
I was just going to say there's a couple of good ones that I read, I think, last year that you might enjoy. One of them was called Spinning.
Tilly
Is it by-
Walden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have On a
Um,
Sunbeam on my shelf, which I still have to read.
Yeah. Well, Spinning is kind of semi-autobiographical because it's about well, I say semi, but it kind of is. But I feel like there's some parts that she took kind of creative liberties with because she says at the end, like, I wanted to project a feeling by writing and creating this book more than I didn't want to focus on the accuracies of what happened in my childhood and like the chronology events. I wanted to focus on giving you the feelings I had. So I think that some events and some timelines might not be exactly what happened to her, but it is kind of a memoir. And then there's another one called All American Girl by Robin Ha, and that's about her life as a teenager, or maybe before she was a teenager. Her mum moved them to the US, and it was about her growing up and like having to learn English and feeling very alienated by her classmates and the racism and xenophobia that she was subjected to. But then as she gets older, like she finds people that have also moved to the US, and so she feels like she finds a group of people that really understand her. And then she goes back to I think it's Korea that she's from. I'm really sorry if I got that wrong because I read it like a year ago. But I think she goes back to Korea, and she sort of realizes that she doesn't fit there anymore, but she feels like she belongs more in the US. It was really good. It was really thought provoking. I feel like both of those are not super happy reads, but they're really powerful reads. They're the kind of read that you're like, I'm glad I read this, and it's sort of, I feel like it's added something to my reading and to the things that I've read and learned this year. So I would recommend those two.
Thanks.
Nice. I'll add it
Those
to
both
Goodreads.
sound amazing. All American Girl has like really rung a bell. Did you read them in your like graphic novel reading vlog?
Yeah.
I remember watching it and I was like, as you were describing it, I was like, I swear I've heard Kate describe this book before. Haha.
Yeah, I read them, I think it was April last year. Or maybe it was summer. I don't know, but it was a weekend when I read like 6 graphic novels
Yeah,
for
I
a
remember
weekend.
that video.
Yeah, so that is what I talked about it, yeah.
What's the name of the author?
Robin Ha. I think it's just H-A is her surname.
Oh, I'm just looking for her. I've learned to always have a Goodreads tab open whenever I do these lives because I always get so many recommendations.
So good. Well, here is another one from Lauren. Noelle Stevenson. I've always wanted to read one of their books. I haven't. Graphic memoir, as well as The Times I Knew I Was Gay. March is an excellent graphic novel trilogy by John Lewis about his involvement in the civil rights movement. Oh my god, wow. I didn't know that John Lewis had a graphic novel out. That's really interesting. So
I've
I assume that is
the Noelle
non-fiction.
Stevenson one. I think it came out last year and it sounds really good. But I will also look that one up because that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I appreciated this. I love when the books have the titles in the book. It's always a little like, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I just read that one. What a mood, Amy. Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, when books have the titles in the book, it reminds me of the videos. I don't know if you've ever watched Cinema Sins on YouTube, but whenever a film has the title and it's mentioned, they're always like roll credits because they always kind of say, yeah, they're like, imagine if when the title is mentioned, that was just the end of the film. And sometimes it's like 2 minutes in as well. So you're watching this video and 2 minutes in, they're like, roll credits.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
I like it when they do logos before the movie's even started.
Yeah.
They're really funny.
I think we just
What is
scored
it?
again.
Oh, really?
According to the noises in my house, we may have just scored again, potentially.
Excellent. What was it called? Cinema Sin. I've never heard of
Cinema
this. This sounds
Sins.
excellent.
Yeah, they basically have like a counter for sins a movie commits, and it's like all really random and weird stuff.
It's really
And there's
funny.
That sounds
like
hilarious.
there's a
They are
Cinema
really
Wins channel who do the same things, but with like they randomly give points
win.
to films.
Yeah.
I
And if
prefer
you-
the Sins though.
Yeah. And if you take it with a grain of salt
For fun.
and not in like film bro-ish, culture, it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like, I remember way back when I was still in high school, my friends forced me to watch Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is now one of my favorite Marvel movies. But at the time, I had only seen the first Captain America, which I did not like because I don't like World War II movies, especially from American perspective. It's just
It's not the best Marvel film.
And we
Yeah.
watched the Cinema Sins video for that film, and there's like so many moments from that video that whenever I watch the movie now, I just remember all of the sin counters. Like there's the scene where the SHIELD agents are like, in their like fancy black cars and are chasing down Steve Rogers, and one of the sins is that like for some reason all of these big black cars are driving behind each other on like a big highway, and it's like, oh, bad guys always drive in the same line. So yeah, whenever I see that in movies, I'm like,
There they are.
Yeah, to be honest,
Yeah.
I really like watching the Cinema Sins videos for movies that I actually liked as well. I feel like if you really like a movie, you can also enjoy when someone spoofs that movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Sometimes they have really valid criticisms as well. Like sometimes I'll watch the film and I feel like I've definitely become more of a critical reader and like film watcher. Like any media I consume, I feel like I'm more critical and I sort of see things more now than I did like 5 and 10 years ago. But sometimes I'll watch the film and then I'll watch one of their videos and I'm like, that's a good point. I didn't notice that little plot hole in there. But they are funny. They're entertaining. And it's terrible if you watch one and then there's like another few queued up on the like watch next bar, because you can just fall into the rabbit hole of like,
Yeah,
it's been an hour and I've watched 6 of these videos.
Yeah.
Oh, one of my absolute favorite YouTube channels is Lessons from the Screenplay. And it's about screenwriting, and basically it's video essays, but specifically about the screenplays to movies, and they're really great videos. But the team who does those, they have a podcast. I think it's called Beyond the Screenplay, and it's basically the team. They're a group of friends, and they talk about movies, but in a really interesting way, and they disagree a lot, and I think they make some very valid points. And it's the kind of podcast about movies that I listen to even when I haven't seen the movie they're talking about.
That's
because,
good.
Yeah, because I don't mind spoilers that much. But yeah, they did some really nice episodes. And what do you have favorite movies? Because now I really want to know what your favorite movies are, if you can pick favorites.
Oh my god.
That's
Quite a
difficult.
few. But some of my, like, I normally separate it into like animated and live action or like not animated, because there's so many good animated films. A couple of my favorite animated films are Tangled, the Disney film,
Nice.
and Kimi no Na wa, which is a Japanese film, which translates
Your
as
Name.
Your Name. Yeah,
Oh, I love
it's so beautiful.
you.
And then a couple of my favorite non-animated ones are the first Avengers film, obviously, and Inception. I love Inception. Like, the hill I will die on is that Inception is such a good movie.
I've never
I was
seen Inception. I
was
should.
confused by
Just
Inception.
no.
I felt stupid because I was confused.
It is confusing. I had to
feel
watch
like
it for
the
a film
first
seminar.
watch, the more you watch it, the more everything clicks into place. And so by the time I'd seen it a couple of times, I was like, this is genius. It's so clever. Like,
What did you think about Tenet?
I haven't seen that one, actually. I
haven't
need to
seen
watch
it.
that, because apparently it's kind of similar to Inception, but like not the same. Jazz, you need to watch it. Let's do a watch party where we just watch Inception.
Let's do it.
Let's
It's
do
not
it.
one I'm like avidly not watching. I just don't. I do watch films. I just don't watch loads of films. So I just never get round to them. Like, I've also been meaning to watch Parasite, which I'm aware everyone watched like a year ago, and I
Still
still
need to see
haven't
that one.
watched. Yeah. I'm trying to think about one of my favorite films. I've literally panicked and gone on to Letterboxd to see what I've watched recently, because I like don't know what I've watched, and all of them, like, I haven't watched any films recently at all. They're all like from December when I watched like 10 Christmas films.
Oh, we got really
None of
into
which are a
like
fave.
trashy Christmas films last Christmas. It was very
love
enjoyable
them.
to like watch them while kind of ripping them to shreds, but also
Yeah.
enjoying the like wholesomeness.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is so trash, but I love it, and it's wholesome, but it's literally the worst thing I've ever seen.
That's how I feel about like dance movies. Like,
Yes.
they're my
yeah.
absolutely non-guilty pleasure, because the plot is always the same. You always know that one of the like two main characters is going to be late to the final performance. But I love those. The choreography is really good. I really enjoy that.
I do have a one. Actually, no, I have two for the films, like fave films. One, Pride. What a good film.
Yes.
And then also, oh, it's so good.
It's
so
really good.
Oh,
So
I
so
haven't
good.
seen anything, to be honest.
I mean, same. But
on.
apart from that, and then this really random film that we watched. I think last Pride we did a like focused on watching load of like queer films, obs. And we watched a film called A Moment in the Reeds, which I can't remember what language it's in, but it was really good. It was really like unlike any film I've ever seen. It was like very beautiful and cinematic, but also very like literally just like these two characters in this like, yeah, I don't know. It was lovely, so would recommend that. Queer.
I separate my favorite films into like films I love but have only seen once and that would ruin me if I saw them again because they made me cry, and the favorite films that I can watch all the time. And the two films that I've seen the most, apart from like childhood movies, because German movies are weird and like German film industry is but we do like the one thing that we can do really well is like children's movies. Like we've got some good stuff going. But yeah, the two films that I've seen the most are The Martian, which actually I saw before I saw it before I read the book, and now the running joke is that I constantly reread the book because I always listen to the audiobook. I listened to it 8 times in 2020. It was my pandemic book because it just whenever
your comfort read.
Yeah, like it's my emotional support book because I'm so familiar with it. And this is really random, but I love the original version, which is read by R.C. Bray. But at some point, the like audio rights ran out because apparently they only last for like 7 years and then they're like open again. I did not enjoy Tenet.
Oh,
I did not like
sorry,
it.
Amy.
But, whoops. But yeah, so and then Audible bought the rights, but didn't want to pay the original narrator enough or whatever, and so they re-recorded it, and now it's Will Wheaton who reads it, who's a great narrator. But that means that the original version, you can't get it on Audible anymore, and I think it's an Audible exclusive, or was, so you can only listen to it now if you bought it before the rights changed, or you would like find the like a CD of it somewhere. And that's really frustrating because I love that audiobook and I don't want to lose it. I mean, it's not like Audible is going anywhere with, Jeff Bezos, but, so yeah, that's the one film and book. But also, for some reason, I really, really like The Social Network. And it's so different from all the other movies that I like because it's not like emotional or anything, but I think I really enjoy the rhythm of it. It has a great soundtrack. I listen to the soundtrack a lot when I study because it's like good study music. And I only recently found out about this, and I still have to read it in its entirety, but somebody created what I think might be the best piece of like transformative fan work ever, and it's titled The Social Network, This Time They're Lesbians. And it's basically what it says on the tin, and it's a rewritten version of the entire screenplay, which originally is by Aaron Sorkin. But Mark and Eduardo, the two main characters, are women, so they're gender bent, and they're lesbians. And like I read an interview with the two women who wrote it, and it's just it opens up so many possibilities, because suddenly the two main characters are like the only women in because the thing is that the Social Network, it's basically about a bunch of dudes. Like there's like maybe 2 or 3 female characters, and none of them are that important. But considering like in the rewritten version that they're suddenly women, it totally changes the perspective, because they're these 2 young women with this like insane startup in like this Silicon Valley thing. And I haven't read the entire thing yet, but what I have read was great. And I love that somebody thought of that. And I kind of want somebody to like make that as a movie because I would watch that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That sounds so
I
good.
love that.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about the Social Network is that it's not really about Facebook. I mean, it kind of is, but it's like mostly about that like friendship and how they broke apart. And it's a very smart movie. I don't agree with most of it, but I also really like the cast, because it's like such a weird combination of people. I mean, Justin Timberlake is in it.
That's so bizarre.
And it works. Like, it's great casting, but you look at the cast list and you're like, that shouldn't work, but it does. So yeah. I'm just very familiar with the rhythm of it, and so yeah. Oh, but movies that I like that I haven't seen more than once. Did any of you see Swiss Army Man?
No.
It's like an indie film that features Daniel Radcliffe as a corpse. Because the basic setup, it's a really weird movie. So the setup is there's this guy who's like stranded on like a desert island, and he's about to, I think, hang himself when this corpse washes up on the beach. And I think it starts with him basically, and there's like no good way to explain this, using that corpse as like a jet ski, because the corpse is like farting. But it involves in like this weird friendship, because that corpse is like semi-alive, but it's like they sort of become friends. And there's like this weird philosophical explanation and exploration of what being alive means, and like it's a hard movie to describe. Yes, and he plays the corpse. Like, it's a fabulous performance. It's so good.
Wow.
It's like weird and wacky. It has a like weird but great soundtrack. And it made me cry like a baby at the end, because it's so sad. But yeah,
I want to watch it for the experience. This sounds.
it's really good.
I don't even know.
Please watch it. But yeah, that's one of those movies. I've seen it once and never again, but I keep thinking about it because it definitely was an experience.
It's stuck in your mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I've never seen to skip back, I've never seen The Social Network. But I didn't know that Aaron Sorkin wrote it. I love The West Wing, and he wrote The West
Aaron
Wing.
Sorkin and David Fincher directed it, which is like it's such a good combination. Mostly like it's a good movie because those two were involved, and it just works really well for the kind of film that it is.
Interesting. Although I want to watch the other one more. The lesbian one. Not the I am intrigued about the Daniel Radcliffe corpse, not a corpse situation, but yeah. What are people's vibes? Reading to non-reading. Are you like one more, or are you kind of like ready to end? What's the sitch? I don't mind. I'd be game to do like maybe a shorter, smaller one, and then maybe like call it there, or happy to just call it there. What do you guys want to do?
I could literally go either way. I don't know. It is quite late. Like for us, it's 10 o'clock. Well, for 3 of us, it's 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
And then for Lay, it's even later, right?
Yeah, it's an hour later.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe let's call it there. We can do this again.
I think I might. What I might.
It's been so fun.
Yeah, what I might do is we can leave it there, and I might carry on reading in bed. You know.
Nice. Let's chill.
Nice.
I love that.
Yeah. I was thinking I might go and get some dessert because there is cake downstairs. I'm like, is it nice cake? No, I don't think it is.
No, of course it's not.
And then I might carry on reading after cake.
Nice. That sounds amazing. Oh yeah, look, Amy is off too. The early bird that she is. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's end it there. Thank you guys so much for coming onto my channel. For the people that are here, or maybe that rewatch this, I don't know. Do people actually rewatch live sprints?
People do.
If they do,
Do they?
go into my bio and go and find all of these lovely people. They're linked below, I think. I think I did that. Yeah, thank you guys for joining. This has been so fun. My first
Thank
time.
you for having me, Jazz. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. You're real nice.
Thank you for the people in the chat. That is now one.
Yes.
Thank you, Lauren.
Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.